Jeremy Wilson, 100% agree on buying in bulk lots from the last member series. We've started doing the same thing at Costco, URM, which is a local commercial type supply store, etc. Is there anything specific that you have run into storage or shelf challenges? So where am I getting all this fucking noise from?
I think it's the light because we never had it before, and now I hear it too.
No, it's
It's you hitting your microphone.
Is there anything specific that you have run into storage or shelf life challenges with? How do you address or fix them if there have been any? Yeah, you just repackage them better. Most of it's going to be rodents, moths. If you remove the oxygen or kill what's in there, then you're fine. So, like, there's a couple of ways with food storage. Let's say rice. Okay, you're going to have rice or oatmeal, anything like that. You're going to have moths. It had moths in there when you brought it home and you didn't realize it, or it has larvae and you didn't realize it. The larva hatched, made its way out. You brought that in. It's not that it was there. It came in the house with the grains. So you can freeze that to kill those and then not really worry about it. Then you can Mylar it up and you can put it in buckets. You put it in buckets to keep the Mylar from getting damaged or from rodents chewing through it. The bucket protects the Mylar. Now, that's a very time-consuming thing to freeze that. You have to freeze it for a couple days, whatever, bring it out of the freezer, let it come up. You don't seal it at that point because you're going to have condensation. Let it come up to room temperature, then you're going to do that. You can put O2 absorbers. You can skip that and put O2 absorbers in, which sucks all the oxygen out so that anything that's in there dies. And then you're going to put it in Mylar with the O2 absorbers, obviously. And again, the bucket protects the Mylar. People will tell you, oh, you don't have to do the Mylar. You can just put it in buckets. Maybe.
It's not going to store as long.
But is there an air exchange? Is there a possibility there of air coming through there? So Mylar again. Now you can also do what's called a nitrogen purge. And as long as the nitrogen sits in the bucket, you're fine. If you dump it over without the lid, the nitrogen, all the stuff's going to spill, but so is the nitrogen. So the nitrogen is heavy, sits in the bucket, and takes away all the oxygen. We used to use nitrogen or CO2. You could use CO2, I guess, too. We would take a bunch of mice and put them in a Rubbermaid container, and we had a little fitting that went through, and we would open the paintball container, the paintball tube, canister, tank, and the mice would just suffocate to death. They'd just die. And then you didn't have to smack them and have blood all over the place and then pack them in the freezer bags. They were way easier to deal with. So you could do the same thing with your grains there also, and then just stack your buckets. Again, I would do the Mylar, whether it's CO2 or nitrogen purge, and seal them up, put them in the bucket. Just like if you're trying, and this isn't you, I know, but I see this all fucking over the internet. Everybody is trying to save a few dollars. And I get it, because you can get more shit if you save the dollars. You can buy more oatmeal. But if you look at our storage, the storage that we put, like we get these Turkey Creek soups or whatever, and they're in like little Mylar rip-top bags, and you just add water. Boiling water makes a soup. We like to add chicken or broccoli or whatever to it. And I put those in Rubbermaid containers with snap top. I'm using Sterilites for those. They're snap top stack containers. And they have a divot, so they stack. They don't move. You can stack them up really high, and they have ridges built into them, so they're strong. I have them stacked floor to ceiling. We used to use these folding lid bins, which would come from Costco back then, and it's just a big container with a lid that kind of interlocks. But over time, I have those also stacked floor to ceiling, and I have them stacked with dry medical supplies in them. And when you walk in a couple years later, they've kind of just deteriorated or whatever's happened. Same with buckets. You can stack buckets 3, 4, 5 high. We did. And we were surprised when we walked back in the building and the top one had cut through the bottom one. And because that happened, it shifted. So that whole stack's on the ground now, just laying all over the place. So when you stack your containers, don't stack them more than 2 buckets high. They will, and then again, lid, quality of lid. If you're buying your buckets through Uline, you're getting a better container. There is a difference between a $1.44 lid and a 2-cent lid. and it is how much material's there, how strong it is, the ribbing that's built into it. If you're buying your containers from Lowe's, Home Depot, Tractor Supply, Walmart, you're getting a $2 lid and a $5 bucket nowadays. Those won't stack 3 high. They'll stack 3, 4 high, but they will fail. That bottom one will crack through and it will fall. You can see them right now every night when I walk in through the garage under the stand that I have some of the giraffe mounts on. There's a set of buckets there that's fallen over, and there's another set, and you can see that it's punched right through that lid. It cookie cuttered because there's a ridge on the bottom. It's just like a cookie cutter.
Would gamma lids make a difference?
Gamma lids would make a huge difference. But then again, too, if you're putting it on a shitty bucket, like there is a difference between a $5 and a $7 bucket. Now, if you're doing this for real, and the point I'm saying with this, where I was going with this is, we have a lot of fucking money in containers. Because I like a container that I can see through. I like to be able to walk in and see right what's in the container without having to read the labels. So I use these clear snap top lids. They're really strong, but they're expensive. I have a lot of money. If you walk in one of the food rooms, if I have 20 grand in there in food, I probably have 5 grand in containers holding the food.
Oh yeah, at least.
And probably more than that. You can get very strong containers that you can stand on, but most of them are black, right? You can buy those Rubbermaid, I think they were called Tough Boxes. Like I bought a bunch of them this year for aquaponics, or last year. They're black and they have the yellow lids. Those things are strong. You can go to Costco, and we even saw them at Walmart the other night that look identical. They're not the same fucking thing. They're different material, everything about them. But Rubbermaid did all the branding. And you associate that with a Tough Box, and there's nothing tough about them. So we have another food storage room, climate controlled. There's never anybody in there, and it's in the back down a hallway, and we don't go in there very often. When we went in there, I'm like, why is this floor all slippery? Well, when we'd moved from one of the houses to another house, a bunch of that stuff got brought here. We emptied out a whole room that was in the back. I think it's 20 by 20. It's bigger than the box room is. And we just set all these racking in there. Now, when we started, here again, racking, right? Shelving, wire racking. The silver wire racking, it used to be $69. It's $120 now. Mm-hmm. And you can buy it at Costco or Sam's Club. And it flips. Sometimes it's $10, $15, $20 cheaper at Sam's Club for a few months, and then it's cheaper at Walmart or at Costco and Sam's Club. They go back and forth. Now, when you buy them at Costco and Sam's Club, let's say they're $120. Sometimes you get a big caster. Sometimes you get a small caster. If you're not rolling them around, it doesn't matter. But you're going to put a lot of weight on these things. So the bigger casters are better if you have the option. You can buy the exact same thing at Lowe's. Lowe's unit, when you buy it, only comes with 4 shelves. It does not come with 5 or 6 shelves. It also, if you want the casters, you're paying $15 a piece more for the casters. And it also doesn't have the opaque kind of clear plastic shelf liner. You have to buy those extra so stuff doesn't fall through. Like if you're just putting cans and number 10 cans, you don't care. But when you buy it from Sam's Club or Costco, it comes with all of that stuff. Those are $120. But I can get something that looks just like it at Walmart. Trust me, you can't, because I have the ones from Walmart. They do cost less. They're not 6 feet. They're not 5 feet. They're 4 feet. Yep. And they're not the same gauge wire. I can stand on my shelves if I have to and kind of reach up if I need to. You stand on that Walmart shelf and it will literally cave in. Like the Walmart shelves, when you put real weight, like you just start putting weight on them, like not even like anything, you're not putting motor parts or anything. You're putting cans of green beans on these motherfuckers, right? They fail. They're just shit. So you get what you pay for. And we have in the center, we lined all the lined walls of this particular food room. It's Mountain House and Emergency Essentials cans, number 10 cans. The entire wall, floor to ceiling. You can't even stick that's all that's there. And then we have another, and then another, and they're in boxes. And there's one case is 6 cans. And there's 2 layers of that all the way up. On the other wall are those folding lid bins. And that's mostly medical. That's medical dry goods. That's tampons. That's maxi pads, stuff like that. just because we accumulated them over time. And then it's medical stuff. We have bins full of Quick Clot, bins full of turning, dry goods that aren't going to matter, right? In the middle of that room, we have those Walmart shelves right there. And what is on those is flats of canned vegetables and fruit. Your fruit will not stay in a can. If it's pineapple, it will eat anything. Pineapple, oranges, tomatoes, eats its way out of those cans. So check those, right? You're good for a little while, a couple of years, 2 years, 3 years maybe. If you have moisture, it's fighting from the inside and the outside. You have rust coming from the outside, and you've got acidity coming from the inside. But what had happened in mine, all the bottom rows are all pancake mix, bags of pancake mix. All you do is add water to it. It's the Costco, Sam's Club, same stuff. And a mouse got in there, and it chewed through, and that powder went in there with the air coming on and off, and everything in there has a thin layer. That's why it was so slippery. When you walk in there, you've got this powder that's on this epoxy floor, and it's slick as shit. It's fucking crazy how slick it is. So I need to go through, find 1, 2, 3, 10, whatever it's chewed through, get those out of there, vacuum it up really good, and then kind of dust everything off. Now, that's the main thing, right? Rodents. We could have easily had poison bait traps down, glue traps down, whatever, and it was never a problem. We're in there every 6 months probably. Well, and then between the last 6 months and now, this has happened. Is it a problem? I mean, we have so much shit in there. It's really not a problem. And we do have, we've got cats. They can't access back there, but those mice can probably come under the doorway, through the hallway or whatever. But yes, those are the kinds of things. We have food that is definitely out of expiration. I don't care. If it's not bloated, if it's not, like, you'll know if it's got botulism in there. If you're questioning it, get rid of it. When you open it up and there's something askew, just give it to the animals. It won't kill your chickens. It won't even harm them. What will fuck you up. I wanted some tuna fish salad, I don't know, 6 months ago. Wanted some tuna fish salad. Took a couple boiled eggs, crushed them up, threw in some mayonnaise and mustard and sweet relish. I don't think that you should even have dill relish in your refrigerator. It shouldn't even fucking exist. Sweet relish. And I opened 2 small cans of tuna. Started eating it. Kind of had a metallic taste. I'm like, wonder how old that tuna is. The tuna was from 2013. It was sitting in my kitchen. We didn't even own this building in 2013, I don't think. And it somehow had made it into on the shelves here somehow. Looked at it, 2013. That means it
came out of the house.
Kept eating it, ate it. Nothing happened.
He's fine.
Yeah, no, it doesn't fucking matter. Chicken may be a little different story. But just buy shit you're going to eat, and then you'll be in it. You'll be paying attention to it. We're to the point where we have food in multiple different places, right? Homeless people, you buy them, you give them cans. Most homeless people would just throw the cans of food away. They want you to buy them pizzas or whatever. But if it comes to the point,
they just want you to give them money.
Comes to the point we're using this food, we don't give a shit. We're going to eat all of it. We're going to eat every bit of it.
Yeah, we're going to put it in a big ass pot.
So I haven't really had. We do the cheap things first, right? Everybody wants to store rice and beans and stuff like that, but we don't eat rice and beans like that. We do eat rice every week here, or I do a little bit.
John does, I don't.
But we don't open up a 50-pound bag of fucking rice. I have thousands of pounds of rice, right? So it's just storing it. You try to do that cheap stuff first because it just builds up the bulk and stuff. But I mean, every year we put away thousands of pounds of rice. We don't ever use it. So we accumulate thousands of pounds more rice. We've yet to ever use any of that rice. I have thousands of pounds of oatmeal. We have thousands of pounds of wheat. I own the best wheat grinder you can get. You can crank it. You can move it with an exercise bike, all kinds of shit. It still does not make as good a flour as the General Electric $300 wheat grinder. But end of the world, we can turn this thing if there's no more electricity. And wheat is good calories. Wheat stores fucking forever.
End of the world, when you're worried about your testosterone level, you can get on the bike and you can exercise and you can grind some wheat.
Yeah. So I don't know if I answered all that question, but
I think
Well, I had a question,
think you
but then
did.
you answered it because you were talking about the buckets were just to protect the bags.
yes,
And I was thinking, why would you need buckets if you had a dedicated room? But you might
rodents.
get rodents. Yeah, so that's like something that you wouldn't know to think about
Yeah,
unless somebody had that problem already.
rodents get places, man. If something happened and a tree hit that wall or whatever, right?
Yeah.
It's going to do less damage to inside there. Just it could be any number of things.
Mm-hmm.
Something like those shitty shelves give way and collapse and fall on there, and you hit all those mylar bags, it'll bust those bags open, and now you'll have
Everything
fucking
everywhere.
all of that
Oh my
everywhere.
God,
Whereas
yeah.
if it's in a bucket, it might purge, it might bust the bucket, but it's probably the liner and everything's still going to be. It's just a little bit of protection.
Yeah, I mean,
Plus,
it makes way more sense.
plus when you have to move that, it is way easier to move
yeah.
a 5 gallon bucket full of rice than a mylar bag full of rice. It just is. It's a little bit of money that you pay, but it's the difference between storing stuff for 5 years and 20 years. It-
Also, I'm a little unclear on the details, but I'm pretty sure Jacob Herman described exactly the nitrogen thing on one of our other videos.
Yeah.
I don't remember specifically what he said, but he drew a diagram and everything. So whoever's asking, if you're interested, go back and look at that video, and he talks about it there too.
So here's the way the nitrogen thing works. Nitrogen sits, it's heavier than air, just like propane. So you're going to put all your stuff in your bucket. You're going to take your tube from your nitrogen tank and you're going to run it to the bottom of the bucket. You're going to fill it up. It's going to come up and it's going to kind of gas over. You're going to put the lid on. But even better than that, take the nitrogen, put your mylar bag inside your bucket, fill it, seal it, and then put the lid on.
So seal the bag after the nitrogen's in there.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Yeah, nitrogen's not explosive, is
Yeah.
it? Am I wrong?
I don't
No.
I
think
don't think so.
So, Andrea Snow. Hi, John and Amanda. Thanks for all. You got to say hi now.
Hi.
Thanks for all you do and all you share with the members. I look forward to Sunday with the content. Anyway, my question this week has to do with Muscovy duck. I don't know shit about Muscovy ducks. We have 3 girls and 3 boys. I meant to ask Nicole about this. Can we keep all 3 or should we get rid of 2 because it will be an MMA death match every morning like with geese?
The boys.
So if they grew up together, it won't be a problem between the boys probably. But what's going to happen is you now have 3 boys that are just banging the shit out of those ducks. Now, I've heard ducks mate for life. I don't think that's the case because I see
There's a lot of raping going on.
I
up
see
there.
a lot of the same girls getting just because they come up, they grab them by the tail feathers, they step on them, and they hit them for a few seconds, they fall off, and then another one jumps on. You'll even see a male mating a female and another male try to mate the male.
So incestuous.
You will have a lot more peace having less male ducks. And then as they get older, like I've got a ton of roosters right now, and these roosters are fucking assholes, man.
and they're dumb as shit too.
It's like a video game. Like they're just because one crows and the next one's rooster and the next one's rooster, and they run around. They're all trying to get hens, and they run up when you open one coop where they're not supposed to be. They try to go in there and eat, and they know too because as soon as they run away really fast. They're super skittish. They act like everything's trying to kill them, probably because I am trying to kill them.
And they rooster literally all hours of the day.
Yeah, you don't need them.
It's
Eat those things or get rid of them. That's a feed bill also. That you have to look at everything as though that's a pet at this point. You are feeding that thing and it does nothing for you. So replace those 2 with 2 more female ducks if that's what you want, because those ducks are going to give you eggs, and you're still going to feed them. So get rid of them. Pete Tony, hey John and Amanda, everyone is expecting economical. Hey John and Amanda, everyone is expecting economic turndown soon, within the year or following year. With that expectation, is now the good old days, as James put it years ago, to purchase items such as food, clothing, fuel, ammo, etc. Thanks for your last week's answer. Okay. If you'd have bought ammo 5 years ago, you would make more money right now. You could sell that ammo right now for more money than if you'd have bought gold or silver or kept it in dollars. If you'd have bought ammo 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, the same thing holds true. But had you held it now, your profit margin would be so much higher. gold, it doesn't really move a lot. Like, it's a store of value if society, crashes or whatever. But guns and ammo, had you bought guns and ammo or milk or eggs, the problem with milk or eggs is that it doesn't sit, right? If you'd have bought Mountain House 5 years ago, you could buy a can of chicken for $60. Now a can of chicken's $120. So, yes. Now, with that said, do you own property? Do you live in the city? Because these are games we play with ourselves, right? Oh, I should buy this ammo because it's going to go up in price, right? I won't be able to get it. Well, if you own property and you have a business or have a business and your business is making money, you have the ability, like, okay, I need to buy this ammo right now, right? It's $500. And I should buy it right now because it's $500, and I think next year it's going to be $1,000, and maybe it will be. But if you start a business and you put that $500 into the business every week that you're going to buy ammo or whatever, and you get to a point where you could just make $1,000 in a day, it doesn't fucking matter, because if you can make $1,000 in a day, you could work more and you can make $2,000 in a day, and you could put $1,000 of that into ammo every day or every week or every month, whatever it is. But that's the difference between when you're an employee and you are a business owner. When you create something that people seek out and want to buy willingly versus having a job where you just have to show up. You don't have the ability to make more money, right? You might make more money in that once you're there 8 hours, they'll pay you time and a half, or you could come in a couple days or whatever, but you really can't control your own shit. When you can control your own stuff, and that's that thing, right? You need to have that hobby, that thing you like doing, that thing you like making, that thing that you're proud of. Do more of that, show it to people, and when you build a good solid product, they will tell their friends about it. And then the social media thing comes in, because when you're doing the social media thing, you might find when you're building the pallet wall hanger things that you're actually making more money by showing people on YouTube how to make it, because they click on it and then they buy your $10 plans, whether they build it or not. Most of them won't even make it, but they'll buy your $10 plans. And then you also have the link on Amazon to where, hey, here's this tool that I'm using, and they click that, and then anything they buy in the next 48 hours, you get 2% off of it, no matter what it is. So if you've got 1,000 eyeballs watching that, and 100 of them click on that thing, and 50 of them in the next 2 days buy anything on Amazon, you get 2% of every sale of those 50 sales. It adds up. It's accumulative. And then when you do that, you can do the same thing now. Amazon has an influencer program also, where you show stuff. You get a higher rate when they do that. Walmart's got the same shit going on right now. Walmart has a click-through marketing and an influencer. Target does also. So you might find that just by building, you might stop having to build, 5 projects a day to pay your bills. You might just build one better video that gets more eyeballs, and you get the click-through marketing, right? So what you started doing, you might find that you don't even have to do anymore, and you're making way more money. So is it the good old days? It always is. It's always, the grass was always greener on the backside, right? But is it? It's all how we look at it, because I was really telling myself I should sell eggs for $8 a dozen because feed has doubled. And then I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, what am I doing?
What I could
literally just take some pictures of some gear I have sitting around. Even my shit that's made askew, right? Have you ever seen me do an auction on Facebook page? That's where I do it, because we have 700,000 people on my Facebook page. I put an auction up. I'm like, hey, this is a second. Something was askew. It got flagged. I couldn't send it to a customer, but I have it ready to go. I can't even tell what's wrong with it, which is honest. I'll show you what's wrong with it if I can find it. And when we auction it, it always goes 3 times over retail. And when it goes 3 times, so if it's a $100 item, it always sells for $300. And then I don't have to worry about chicken feed for this month, because the excess is covered by that sale. Now, something else happens when I do an auction. All the people involved in the auction have already mentally
spent that money.
They're already mentally at peace that they're going to spend whatever that is. And when they lose the auction, or it bids out where they were, they almost always go and spend that money on something else. So we not only do we get the $300 sale off the auction, sales always go up $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 while doing an auction, always. So it's just how we look at things. It's this: do you want to live in scarcity, or do you want to live in abundance? And it's back to that mindset and the vocabulary we use. And it's real. It is fucking real. And if just one person in here gets that, it will literally change your life. And then you're going to tell the same story for months, and you're going to touch one person. And that's okay. I don't need everybody. I just need one of you to pick this up. Just one person.
When it comes to the way you think too, specifically with the ammo, just buy the ammo for sure. But this helped me think differently about it. When I took a class in 2020, I think, where I paid 69 cents.
Speak up.
I paid 69 cents a round for 9mm. That's $700 to take a class just in the ammunition. Now it's about 29 cents. So I dollar cost average. Yeah, I bought a few thousand for 69 cents. Now I'm buying a few thousand for 29 cents, and all of it is now 40 cents. So it just makes you think, like, just keep buying it, and then you can see that when it's lower, it's going to lower your entire amount spent, you know.
So are you saying that the ammunition costs less right now?
Yeah, oh yeah, it's way less now.
Got it.
But I don't think it's going to be, like, it's been around 30 cents for about a year now. And I don't see, like, I think that's the bottom because it's not going any lower. I think one time I saw it for like 28 cents a round, but I think we're about 30 cents a round for 9mm where it's at. So definitely keep buying it now. But if it goes up, then keep buying it, and all of your ammo just went up by 5 cents instead of.
But while you say that, yes, you can find lower cost 9mm.
Yeah.
It's not the 9mm the government's buying, though.
Well, no.
It's not the same shit. If you look at that has not come down in price. If you look at green tip, green tip was ridiculously exaggerated because the government was buying so much. So what was on the market, people were willing to pay stupid prices for it. So maybe that came down to the normal consumer. But when you look at high-end ammunition, that shit's not down in price.
No, and I think that, like, in 2020, things were artificially inflated. Like, 30 cents a round is not down in price. It used to be 15 cents a round, you know? So you're right. Like, it's not down. It just doesn't hurt as bad, you know?
Yeah, well, we used to be able to buy on the civilian market. You used to be able to buy a case of 5.56 military green tip, 840 rounds, and you could buy that for $500. Like, you can't now.
That was the deal with the AK-74s. Like, if you bought enough ammunition, instead of buying 7.62, it would pay for the rifle. You know?
Yeah. We literally, guys were buying 74s because the ammo was so cheap.
Yeah.
I had so much 40 cal Smith & Wesson silver tip, right? The law enforcement rounds. I had dollies stacked of that shit. We didn't even own a 40 cal. We went and got a 40 cal Glock just because we had so much ammunition for that.
Yeah.
That was back in the day, but yeah, man, just if you don't have a place worth living and you don't have some kind of income, I would say don't. I mean, yeah, stack your shit. I mean, I see everything, stack it to the rafters, and I've done all that shit. I also bought thousands and thousands of dollars worth of food that went bad, right? We went and immediately started buying protein when we moved to Tennessee. We bought a truckload of tuna, like literally pallet jacks of tuna, filled the truck up, and drove home. And the next week, we bought pallets of canned chicken. And then we bought pallets of Spam and pallets of green beans and pallets of tomato sauce. Most of that shit's like we bought fucking thousands of dollars in Top Ramen. Can you imagine how much Top Ramen that is? And we had it in the basement. We had dehumidifiers running. Everything was good. When we moved out of there a few years later, that Top Ramen was crawling. Like, we bought everything so that it was still in the cardboard cases. But a lot of that shit was bad. Like, we had all that tuna and all that canned chicken and stuff so long. It was so far out of date. I paid a dude minimum wage when we moved here on the property to open those cans up to feed that to the chickens. Like, every day we would open up 20, 30 cans of that old ass stuff. It was probably still good, but I mean, if I could go back now and get I don't know. That was it was about $5,000. We'd spend $5,000 at Costco
Yeah.
every weekend. If I could take and have 50,000 of that back, I could take 50 grand right now and start an entire woodworking business and just piddle around and fuck around and have air circulators and all that shit and not have to deal with sawdust, right? I could totally do that now. But I don't have any of that canned food. I mean, we have some of it. But the original stuff, like those pallets we were buying of stuff like that, we don't have any of that shit. It's not here. So what could you do if instead, like, and I always say this, right? I'm 50 years old. Every year something was supposed to kill us. Something was going to be the end of the world, or at least the end of the world as you know it. None of that's happened. Nothing like that has happened. If I'd have just taken all that money and just put it into business or other businesses, and now it is so easy once you start a business to have alternate income sources and multiple streams of revenue, even off the same genre. I would rather see you do that. I'm not telling you don't have ammo, but usually when dudes are asking these questions, when you really ask them the real questions, the answers aren't very good, right? Do you have $10,000 sitting right now that you could do something with? Could you access 10 grand? Like if an opportunity came this weekend and you needed $10,000 to do something, could you make that move right now? Do you have fuel, right? I was talking to a dude this morning, and he's like, yeah, fuel's up, this gas pipeline shut off, and it's true, they're true. Do you fucking care, though? Like, does it affect you? Or is it just everybody's making the same videos, right? One guy makes a video, next guy makes a video, next guy. So it's in front of you, so it seems like something, but it doesn't really affect you. When I go to the gas station and gas is $3 a gallon, I buy gas. When I go to the gas station and gas is $5 a gallon, I still buy gas. It doesn't fucking affect me.
And we don't change anything we're doing either.
We don't. We don't ever, never are. And that's the position I want you to be in. And the only way you're ever going to be there is if you get started. You get started, right? So I would rather you be in a position where you'd started your business 5 years ago, you see an opportunity for ammunition, and instead of talking about what this ammo costs, I want you to be in a position to buy 55-gallon drums of ammo. When you want 5.56, I want you to call one of my 5 friends that makes bullets for a living and go, hey, how much for a pallet? And you can fit 4 drums on a pallet. That's how you buy it. You buy your ammo by the pallet. 4 55-gallon drums. That's how I want you to buy ammo. If we're talking about the cost of 1,000 rounds of ammo, I want you in a position where the cost of 1,000 rounds of ammunition does not matter to you. That's the answer. That's the answer. What do you not, like, I feel like we're in a position having this conversation that you're going to buy this instead of buying something else. What are you not doing by buying this ammunition? I'm not telling you don't do it, but don't you already have 1,000 rounds of ammo or a couple thousand rounds of ammo?